we bought was some 300 TDI flanges which bolts onto this axle, and then we needed this bracket here that bolts on the back and sandwiches between the new stub axle, the axle, and this, which lines up for your brake caliper. Alright, and also in here you've got two little holes that's tapped for the shield, and everything works out fine, doesn't it? We worked it out fine until we come to a bit of a crab. Now, one of the things we found out with these, Paul had to do a lot of machining with a die grinder to get them to fit, so be warned if you're going to fit these, don't think you're going to bolt them straight on. This bit touches, and this bit needs undercutting because there's a ring at the back of the flange. You must grind these until these holes line up perfectly. It will become clear, but why they don't do it from the factory I don't know. You pay enough for the bloody things anyway. So that was another problem. Now Paul is going to demonstrate what JP did to make our rings work, our sensors work. So if you hold up those flanges, Paul.
So this is the one off of my Puma Defender.
You see it's got the notch, you just hold it like that, that's it. So you see it's got a notch in there to take, where's the bush? Where's that bush? Oh, it's here. Oh dear. To take this bush here, right? That has to go in there. Inside this sleeve there is a little copper or a brass ring which holds the sensor. This allows the sensor to move in and out, if you see what I mean, but this is kind of crucial. It should be a press fit. So when JP did this, if you offer up the other one, Paul, he machined in here in exactly the same place, the same groove. Alright? It has to go between two bolt centres here and here. The orientation of this doesn't really matter because we can put it anywhere we want. We could put the groove, put it here if we wanted to, but we worked off that one where it should go, and this is a press fit into here. That's a press fit, and he made us a little tool here. We'll back off a bit. He made us a tool here for this to go on here like this, so we can tap it in. Alright, so that was that bit. So this tube shouldn't stick out more than the bolt heads. If it does, it'll just chew the end up. But once that's done, once we've worked out the height, JP is going to make us a reinforcement bush to slip over there, and then we're going to tack weld it on the back of the axle so that tube cannot move. Do we need it? We don't know, but better safe than sorry, because if you've ever messed about with ABS and the sensor's a bit funny, can have lights coming on all the time. But inside there with that little brass copper spring, we can move the sensor in and out, but we don't want to move it so it's right at its fullest extremity, if you see what I'm trying to get at.
Why, just out of interest then, would you not get that set and then just tack weld this on the back?
I don't know. I could do, but if you want to dismantle it again, it's going to be a bugger of a job. Yeah,
but is it?
It's easier. It's easier to have that press fit and a tube press fit. If you want to strip it down,
just left with that tube, little bit of tube sticking out the back.
Yeah.
But everything else.
And then it will all line back up again.
Yeah.
If we didn't, you see, we don't want that tube to move in time, do we? With all the vibrations, we don't want that. So it's just a little bit of belt and braces. I don't want to weld that tube to that anywhere in here. It would be an easy cop out.
Yes.
It would be ever so easy to do.
Yeah.
But once these cars get a few miles on them and they get rusty, because I don't know about you, Paul, but I have seen one or two rusty. I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes these sensors are a bar steward to get out. This one just pushed out because it's pretty relatively new. So, if you keep it up with us, so far, so good. So this is where the fun started. Everything was lining up beautifully, and I thought, according to the parts book, that the rotor or the disc would bolt on. Wrong. Well, it wasn't really wrong, because I thought I had some on the shelf. So, wrong. 300 TDI discs will fit this. But we've got to run down to machine shop, JP's machine shop, and have these holes drilled here, these extra holes fitted for the reluctor ring. There you go, you wanted to hold that up. The reluctor ring bolts inside of here. This is for the ABS sensor to pick up. It creates a magnetic, the sensor's magnetic, and it picks up off this sensor and it sort of switches on and off, so the high spots and low spots are just like little triggers. Alright, I won't go into ABS, I'm going to be on this forever. But it's the easiest and simplest solution we can work out, and then everything bolts together. And we'd be happy with that, won't we?
Yeah.
Because it's all off the shelf stuff. The only thing you're going to do if you ever change the rotors
is re-drill that.
Is you've got to re-drill that.
For that reluctor ring.
Yeah. We spent hours on internet looking for which will fit with which, and we went round and round in circles and ended up thinking, oh, this'll fit, but it doesn't. We could have ordered them,
yeah,
and it's not right. So we've got our friend Mark, who's taken my white 110 back to Ontario for sale. Watch out for that one shortly. So that's going to be sold in Ontario. So he's road testing it, and he volunteered to go to Rovers North in Vermont, which is about 2 hours away, to pick us some 300 TDI rotors up. Then we can... Right, so we've got the 300 TDI discs, rotors, whatever you want to call them, from Rovers North, and these didn't have the holes in for this reluctor ring, which works for the ABS. So I popped off down to JP's yesterday, as we do, our go-to person for engineering stuff, and I thought he could put it on his dividing head and just drill the holes. And then he said, there's 5 holes, Mike. He says, my dividing head won't divide into 5 because it's like indexed. So what are we going to do? He said, well, we could do them by hand and mark them out. And then I looked at it and I said, well, wait a minute, what if we went like that, put one on top of the other, like this? He said, oh yeah, and then the sort of ideas came together. So he made 2 dowel pins which fit, wait a minute, there we go. And get them lined up because they are a bit of a tight fit. The lion sleeps tonight. I've got to get that one in. So with that, with those pins in up there like that, we put it on his milling machine and just lightly clamped this down so we could turn it, but it was flat. And the miller being square, he got some. He's got a very big selection of indexed drills. So he found the one that was a really nice snug fit into the original hole and just drilled them out. And that was it. 5 minutes, job done. So we're going to give these to Paul. So if he needs new rotors, keep those pins. Otherwise, if you'd have got just aftermarket ones, you know, like they're just cheap ones,
yeah,
they're even cheaper than the ones with the holes in.
That's the thing to show, isn't it? Where's that bring?
Oh, this one here?
Well, I was just going to show the difference in...
Oh, the difference in offset, yeah. Perhaps you can see that this was our dilemma. This is wider than this one. Alright? And also, these are supposed to be genuine discs. Mm-hmm. These are.
Yeah. But
this is a genuine disc. But one thing I've noticed on here, they've actually grooved it out for balancing. I've never seen that on a disc before. But on here, all it is marked FTC, what's that say? Is that 38? 46. And it gives the WK03 YR19 on it, but there's no manufacturer's information on it at all. If it was Delphi Lockheed, it's usually stamped on the side. So the next thing, we're going to put the rotors on, or the discs. I've got to call them bloody rotors. We've been here too long. It's like calling things flashlights. We're going to not put on the dust shields, are we?
No.
You'll see the reason why, because we want to use it sort of like a trolley, but I don't think it'll work. But the dust shields are taller than the diffs, so usually what happens is we bend them as we put in the axle in, so we'll put them on last. So it doesn't matter which route. Well, do you want to put it passenger side again? Because we marked it with a P, didn't we? We put a P on it. We had a P on it. These wheel bearing kits are for 300 TDI and TD5 and Puma. They didn't change that bit.
Right.
So now we can put the nut on.
Okay.
But we're not going to tighten them up until we're on the vehicle. See what I mean? Because they take a lot of torque. We could do, I suppose. Put a bar in and stop the diff from turning. Oh. Oh. It's like car porn. So, we set the torque wrench to 150 pounds according to internet, and tightened up the lock nuts. We managed it on the bench. Paul's struggling away trying to hold it down, and we've stalked over the nut. That's good. So that should be it, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
That should be it. We're only concerned, you know, those rotors look right. Yeah. We'll see when we put the discs on, the calipers for your car. See what it's finished like when it's under cab, but I think it should be alright. Now the next thing is to put the pinion in, eh?